I'd like to call the meeting to order. I apologize, we're running a little late this evening. But I'd like to welcome everyone to our monthly meeting at the El Paso Community College Board of Trustees meeting. Dr. Gonzalez, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And let the record show all board members are present. Oh, lost my page here. How do we go back to our page? Let me see the page. Lost my page. Okay. Pam, you want to read 1.4, please?
Yes, sir. Item 1.4, approval of minutes, September 25th, 2019 special meeting, September 25th, 2019 special meeting, December 18th, 2019 facilities and finance, December 18th, 2019 regular meeting, January 20th, 2020 special meeting, January 29th, 2020 facilities and finance committee.
I have a motion to approve.
Move to approve.
Second.
Call the question.
I just have one question on page 8 of the minutes from December the 18th. Somewhere in the content of, in the context of the minutes, I don't think we specified that the reference was being made about the flags across America, the area in Trans Mountain that needed a small landscape upgrade and possibly some kind of identification that it was the college's property. Can we just add that to the minutes?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Any other discussion? Call the question.
Mr. Uxer,
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Mrs. Robles,
Aye.
Dr. Graham,
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Nájera, aye. All
I'm
good.
having a problem today, I'm sorry, Ms. Nada.
Aye.
Ms. Pena,
Aye.
Dr. Graham.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, item 1.5, welcome.
Okay, again, we want to welcome everyone here to the board tonight. Open forum, we have several people signed up to speak tonight. Is there a Andrea Nunez? Okay, come on up.
Come on down.
And because of the policy of the board is because this is all on the same subject, you have 3 minutes.
Yes, sir. So, may I begin? Good afternoon. My name is Andrea Nunez, and I am currently a student from the Clay Early College Academy. I attend the Valle Verde campus, so therefore I support this, or I am for this policy for tobacco-free because going into the Valle Verde campus, last semester I had a class going from the Union into the B building, and I know that I had to walk outside, and basically going from those two buildings, the smell was very bothersome for me. And actually during that time, I was actually sick. I had the flu, I believe. And actually that kind of didn't help me like breathe or anything. So it was just very bothersome to go through there. Also the fact that I am underage, so not only does that set as like, it's encouraging me, or not even me, but just my fellow classmates that, okay, this is allowed and this is what people can get away with. Also, I had an instance where I was in the sociology class and the student just pulled out a vape and basically just did it there in the class. So it was kind of awkward for me, that situation. Obviously, she got away with it because the professor didn't see he was writing on the board. But that was, again, an awkward situation for myself as I didn't know if to speak out on it or if that was allowed. Also, my friends just again, we're all underage, and I was also informed that a fourth of the students that attend the Valle Verde campus are early college students. So again, that just poses as like an encouragement to underage students that the use of tobacco is acceptable around us. So that's why I support this policy.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Is there a Kyla Madrid?
Good evening, board members. So my name is Kayla Madrid. I also attend the early college in Clint, and I also attend the Valle Verde campus. I've always been an advocate against the use of tobacco, especially the use of tobacco with youth. So as an early college student, I attend college with many other adults, and they are allowed to smoke within 15 feet of the doorway. So I could be walking to class, minding my own business, and I get a huge breath of air of secondhand smoke. So for the lungs of somebody who's under the age of 21, that's not a very healthy thing for any of us to be breathing. But for a youth, and 25% of the campus is underage or early college students, it's a big percent of the student body who has to deal with the cravings of one smoker that we have to breathe as we walk by. I support making EPCC a tobacco-free campus and a vape-free campus because we never realized how detrimental these effects are to other people until they affect us. There's many diseases that are caused by secondhand smoke, and there's even more diseases that are caused by smokers in general. So to have that, not only a smoker put their own health in danger, but put the health of hundreds of other young students as well, it's really dangerous, and I support this tobacco-free motion 100%, and I hope that it passes. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there an Annette Torres?
Good evening, Mr. President and board members. My name is Annette Torres, and I am Program Manager for Smoke-Free Paso del Norte at the YMCA of El Paso. We have been the Smoke-Free Initiative in our community for 20 years. We have supported organizations and entities, groups like these students here today who support tobacco-free policies to protect the health not only of them, but those affiliated with the college in any way. For your visitors, for your staff, for your faculty, for anyone who comes onto this campus. And what we are offering today is our assistance in implementation, should this pass, as well as helping to find resources for your students, for your faculty, for your staff, should that be necessary. In addition, we do have members of our Tobacco Control Network who are here today to speak about resources that they have available for your people as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Darcy, I'm going to butcher this name, Tarfansed? I just know you as Darcy, but
You're going to have to excuse my voice. Good evening, board members. Dr. Sarata, as you know, I fought against this the last time we came in last year. I'm still in favor of going smoke-free, tobacco-free, vapor-free. As you can hear, I've had an exasperation of my COPD due to trying to walk through smoke, trying to walk through the wind. It doesn't help my health-wise. It ends up that I miss work due to other people's negligence. By going smoke-free, tobacco-free, hopefully this will be one less day that I have to miss work or walk through uncontaminated air.
thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak on the subject? Any other people registered? Oh, have some more? Again, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Good evening, Board of Trustees. My name is Monica Leal, and I'm here representing the American Heart Association, and my colleague here, Eva Olivas, also with the American Heart Association. The American Heart Association has long worked to increase smoke-free environments with the ultimate goal of reducing chronic illnesses and deaths that are related to tobacco. As you may know, cigarette smoking remains the leading cause of preventable illness and premature death in the United States. Smoking not only claims the lives of those who use tobacco, but also those who are exposed to secondhand smoke. Secondhand smoke produces immediate adverse effects on heart function, inflammation, and on the vascular system. Through the Heart Reach program, the American Heart Association can provide assistance with the implementation of smoke-free policies, such as media recognition, highlighting El Paso Community College as a smoke-free school in newspaper ads, social media, and other venues. We can also provide indoor and outdoor signage, student and faculty staff education, and referrals to local and state cessation programs. Evidence suggests that smoke-free policies at college and universities can help reduce secondhand smoke exposure, tobacco use initiation, and the social acceptability of tobacco. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, and I will add, following Monica, we host a Vestido Rojo event that is meant to educate and empower Hispanic women in our community on how to take better care of their hearts. And we're actually hosting the event here with EPCC, so we just wanted to say that it'd be pretty incredible if we'd be able to notify all 500 women who are in attendance that they're sitting in a building who has now taken the initiative to provide a smoke-free campus for their students. Thank you.
And can you state your name for the record, so we can just grab your name? Thank you.
Yes, my name is Eva Olivas, and I'm with the American Heart Association.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Board of Trustees. My name is David Basaldua. I'm the Tobacco Prevention Coordinator at Aliviane with the Prevention Resource Center. I also was a student of EPCC, but not in the traditional sense. I was in high school taking dual credit classes, so at times I would come to EPCC campus. I remember very vividly back in those days coming to a library, having to walk around people who were smoking because it's not something I wanted to be a part of. You know, it's something that if people want to do it, that's fine for them, but not only does it affect them, but it affects the people around them. As you may know, cigarette smoking has gone down in the past few years, but there is a new thing that we have to deal with, which is vaping. Not only vaping tobacco, but also vaping THC, which is a felony, by the way, vaping THC. The reduction of cigarette smoke is something that was able to be done by our public health workers, public health professionals, among other entities, you know, with their policies in place. So we do hope that this policy can also help, you know, reduce of vaping and tobacco use in the campuses. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Sarai Gutierrez. I am a health education and prevention specialist with the City of El Paso Department of Public Health, and working with tobacco prevention for over 7 years now and providing our local tobacco cessation program called Fresh Start. It's been a great, rewarding part of my job, but it also lets all tobacco users know that although policies exist, and if this policy passes, current tobacco users are not alone, and we do have free cessation services that are provided for them. The Fresh Start program is not a program that forces anyone to quit. Rather, it provides them the essential tools and information and education a participant needs to make a successful quit attempt. And this service can be provided for all the community of El Paso, including El Paso Community College students, faculty, and staff, free of charge. I do have the Fresh Start cards here. If anyone of you would like to take them, they are going to be placed right here in the front. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Dr. Sadata and board members. My name is Arvis Jones. I'm the Director of Student Leadership and Campus Life at the Veterans Resource Center here at El Paso Community College. I'm coming up because for years our Student Government Association has been pursuing that El Paso Community College move to a smoke-free, tobacco-free campus. I am really happy this evening to see this actually on the board agenda, and I do hope that you vote in favor of it. Throughout the years, they have worked extremely hard, so we have current SGA members and past SGA members here with us, as well as other students from within the institution, to support this particular measure. It has been going on for many, many years, and I'm very proud to see that it's on the agenda, and I hope it favorably passes. Thank you.
Thank you. No one in the audience here opposes the motion tonight? Anybody want to speak in opposition?
Judge, may I offer a suggestion? Can we go ahead and read in the agenda item? We've heard from public comment on that, and maybe we can just go ahead and just address it right now. It's a little bit later on in the agenda, but since we're already talking about it, most of the public comment addressed it. If you don't mind.
So you want to move down to the motion? to
Yes,
the-
if we could
okay.
discuss the agenda item. It's
Okay.
item 1.9.1.
Can you read the item, Pam?
Yes, sir. Item 1.9, Board of Trustee Business. Item 1.9.1, discussion and action to direct the president to develop a policy banning all tobacco and vaping products at all district facilities beginning fall 2020.
I hear a motion.
Sure.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion?
Have some discussion, please. First of all, I want to thank everybody that's here and who patiently waited for us. We were not straggling along. We were conducting other board business, so I definitely want to thank you for your time. Your time is very valuable, and for you to come here and to speak and to tell us why this is important. I understand that this is not the first time that this item has been addressed. You've been here the last time that we looked and we reviewed this item, so I definitely appreciate that. And it's very telling when you have individuals who are also no longer students here but continue to have an interest, as well as with the community members who are here, who devote their work and their passion, if you will, to ensure that we have a healthy and safe, not only school environment, but also a community as well as our own government. So I thank you for that very much. You know, I know that this has been a long process. Believe me, this came up last year, but really that is because the community college, as most of the students and the faculty know, adhere to a shared governance model. And so what that means for members of the public who don't know is that you engage in discussions, you discuss with your faculty members, you discuss with your students policies, and one of these policies was tobacco-free. And I understand that if some faculty had some opinions as to, you know, we should not be telling other individuals whether or not they can smoke. Can we have smoke separate designated areas for that? So those were part of those discussions. And in all, what the idea of the shared governance model is really to come to a place of a consensus, to come to a place where everyone agrees. Sometimes we don't, but if that's the case, really we need to continue and we need to move on with that. And so that's where we are today, and that's where we as a board have to make the decision. And sometimes decisions are tough. There's a lot of tough decisions. Other times they're not so tough, at least for me, and I'll speak for myself. I am very happy to have seconded the motion on this. I think that this is where we need to go to ensure that we are providing a healthy and safe environment for our students, our faculty, our staff that work here, and to really keep up with the rest of the nation that is going towards this trend. We are not trying to tell individuals what to do. We are not trying to preach, if you will, what is the best way and how you need to live your life or your lifestyle. But what we can do and to ensure is that we do have a healthy and safe environment for the students that are here. And so with that, I just wanted to share that. I don't know if anybody else on this board has anything to share, but I'm really, really proud of the students that really had made this a passion and took this as initiative and really pushed us to make sure that this was on the agenda and that we get this done. It's a long time coming. So thank you all very much for that.
I'd like to make a comment. I have been an educator for about 35 years, and I know that we fought this battle way back many years ago with the public schools, and it was no easier then than it is now because, of course, we have a huge number of individuals working in the public schools who were not happy with the decision the board was making at the time. So I agree with Ms. Sanchez that it's not an easy decision. We talked about it. We heard, different points of view, but we have to move forward in the best interest of everyone's health in the college. So thank you for your comments and for coming forward.
My comment is, how are we going to enforce this? What's the fine? How are you going to stop someone who's smoking? Do any of you students have any ideas on that, or any of you professional from the Heart Association? What do we do? Spray paint them and say no smoking, or what do we do?
We post the signs all over and let the administration come up with some kind of consequences.
What is the fine, Dr. Brett?
You're the judge.
You're passing something that doesn't have any, how are you going to enforce this?
And I just would add, before we get to that, because there is an answer for that, in terms of passing something and the enforcement, of course, that is an issue, but I would also add that I think it's also important to take a policy stand and a position to ensure that this is what our campus and our institution believes in, and this is why we think it's important to pass it. And so, of course, there is the enforcement part of it that will be discussed, and there's an answer to that. But there's also the secondary meaning behind why you pass something like this and what it means for the students in the community that is here, and what we are saying as an institution of why this is important and why we pass that. So I just wanted to add that caveat.
Well, I think it's very important, but I want to understand what the consequences are. How are we going to enforce? If we pass this tonight, what's the enforcement?
How do we
Mr.
enforce
Chairman.
the others?
It is the responsibility of the board to set policy. Now it is up to the administration to develop the process for which we will implement this policy. And there is no doubt in my mind that the administration recognizes the need to follow up on this policy, and I'm sure that in the very near future, we will hear from the president as to what that procedure will be.
I want to hear from the students. Tell me, what do you got there?
Good evening, board members, president, and my name is Jonathan Garcia. I am a student athlete here at El Paso Community College. I am a cheerleader. Also, you talk about enforcing these new regulations that might be put in place. Well, we do have enforcement laws when it comes to ticketing for citations for traffic, right? We do ticket people who park in designated areas where they're not supposed to be parked. I have never seen any issues with that. I see people get ticket for parking in the wrong spaces. I've also received a ticket for that. So when you ask,
We all have.
so when you ask how are we going to enforce this, I mean, I do believe we have a police office at every single building at El Paso Community College. So if you guys do pass this law or this regulation, that gives the authority for police officers to start citing students who are breaking the law. I mean, that's one way to enforce that. Yes, we don't want to, because do we want to be known, or the police officers want to be known as a police force who are citing students for smoking? Yeah, when it comes to students' health and other members and the faculty, yeah, I would like to be known for that.
Okay, what Texas law, what statute says that there's a ticket for smoking?
I mean, if you guys do pass, a city ordinance, if you guys do pass that, then it would be against.
We're not a city.
We're not a city, but if you guys do, I mean, I'm not really familiar with all the jurisdictions, the city ordinance and all that too, but if you guys do pass that.
This is my point. You're passing something, and I don't mind passing it.
Yes, sir.
How are we going to enforce it?
Well, then we would use our police.
Counselor, how do we pass a fine when we're not a legislature? We don't pass laws. How do we do this?
Oh, thank you. It'll be up to the administration to determine. You can set regulations within the college, and you have rules that are broken, and within those, the same as the Student Code of Conduct has consequences for other infractions. You can set those into the Student Code of Conduct, and you can have infractions for that. I don't know all of the logistics, but certainly we could look at it. I don't think you're citing them for a law, you're citing them for breaking the rules of the college.
You're going to charge them a fine out of it. What are you going to call it? A fee? Yeah, I don't have a problem with this. I think we're just doing it half. We're just making half of it here.
But if
Because
the board
tomorrow morning, there's going to be somebody out there smoking a cigarette, and one of these fine students are going to go up and say, well, you can't smoke. And he says, what are you going to do about it?
What you can do is.
It's not up to the other student to do anything about it. It is whatever mechanism that the college puts into place in terms of the rules or policies and procedures, which we would hopefully pass. We haven't voted on the motion yet, to set that standard. And so, again, is it all or nothing because we didn't catch so-and-so in Economics 101 on whether or not they're gonna be able to get cited, and it's gonna take 10 minutes for that individual to come over here. There is a process that's in place, and again, the message that hopefully we as a board go to is that we have taken a position that this will be a tobacco-free institution, and that is in line with what most public institutions across this country have taken. And so just because we didn't catch Joe across the street, you know, putting out that cigarette in time and somebody to cite him, we can't stop and prevent us from moving forward. This is a strong message. This will be phased in. Students, I think, have been vaping or have been participating in some of those, not only students, I shouldn't just say students, I'm talking about whoever attends this institution, whoever comes onto this campus. But again, it's a policy that we are setting, and that it's the standard, if you will, of what we are setting as a value, as what we think our institution needs to adhere by. And so it's not fair, quite frankly, to ask that question to the individuals that are here, that are coming before us, who are advocating for this position. This will have to be a rollout. This will probably, I'm assuming, have to be training that will need to be done in terms of how do you enforce something like this with our law enforcement agency here that polices the institution. So it's a process. But again, that should not stop us from moving forward with that.
And Judge, the action is, that we're voting on, is to direct the president to develop a policy banning all tobacco. It wouldn't take effect tomorrow. So if tomorrow somebody's out there smoking, it wouldn't take effect tomorrow. It would be in effect beginning fall of 2020 if the policy is, if Dr. Serrata has finished with it by then, if the administration has finished by it. It wouldn't be tomorrow.
I mean, these guys have been working on this for a year. You guys didn't go to another place and find out what their policies were? So
No,
that-
and I'm sure they
May I
have that.
interject, please? What I would like to say with that is for the past few years, I've gone to a couple of different conferences on how we can roll out a policy as far as trying to make our campuses smoke-free, tobacco-free. It will not happen overnight, even if we do pass the policy today, and even if it does go into effect in the fall. It will take time. We have to change the culture of the institution and everything. So we just can't automatically say that, yes, we're going to fine you for doing this and doing that. We have to change the culture, and it's going to take time to do that. And as our students begin to transition out of the college, they graduate and they move on, and the new ones come in, then they're going to realize that we are a tobacco-free, smoke-free campus. It will take time. Are we here to make our police force become the smoking police force? No, we're not here to do that. Okay? But we do have support from community members like Annette, as I said. We have sample policies. They can help us to implement this as well, and it will take time. But we're not here to beat anybody over the head, and we're here to gradually bring it into the institution. As you're saying, roll it out. It is going to take us some time to do that, and the main thing is trying to change the culture of the institution. You all approve the policy. It's going to be up to us to try and enforce that policy the best way that we can, and also work with our student population, staff, and faculty to implement that policy.
We don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's already being done other
I
places.
just was asking a question. How are you
Just
going
giving
to
you an
enforce
answer.
it?
I'm sorry, if I may, we worked with and helped to actually establish the policy at UTEP when it went tobacco-free. And it was a very lengthy process because it is all about education. It is about making people aware. And there was some time in there where what we did is we empowered people to go around. We had campus cards. Did you know that we are now a tobacco-free, smoke-free campus? So it will not happen overnight. It did not happen overnight in 2001 when we passed the El Paso City Ordinance. That took time. So we're in this for the long haul. When we say we are here to support you, that means every step of the way. Implementation, finding out enforcement, connecting you with those who have figured this out and who have best practices who you can then adopt, or which you can then adopt, in order to ensure that this goes as smoothly as possible.
Any other discussion?
No, sir.
I call a question.
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Dr. Graham.
Yes.
Ms. Naheda.
Aye.
Ms. Pena.
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
No. Okay, we're going to go back up to the top of the list here.
Motion passes.
Motion passes.
I don't want any complaints of you guys beating somebody up because they're smoking.
Item 1.7, presentations by individuals, groups, and organizations. Item 1.7.1, Dr. William Sarata, college president, will recognize individuals who have retired from the college district.
Chair Haggerty, members of the board, I'm going to ask Professor David Henry to join me, please.
Oh, my God.
So Professor David Henry serves as an English professor at the Trans Mountain campus, a native of Texas. Mr. David Henry moved to Waco, Texas to attend Baylor University, where he earned his bachelor's degree in 1970 and his Master of Arts degree in 1971. While at Baylor, he was awarded a Browning Fellowship. His first teaching position was at Navarro College in Corsicana, Texas. In 1974, he was hired at El Paso Community College as an English instructor, where he joined a cadre of professors and administrators at Logan Heights. Professor Henry has many fond memories of the rough and raw environment of the military barracks, coupled with the true spirit of community. He loved working at Logan Heights. Professor Henry was one of the first instructors that taught at Trans Mountain and served on the planning committee for that campus. He moved to the Trans Mountain campus when it opened in 1979 and established El Paso Community College's first writing center, where he served as the coordinator until December 2019. Professor Henry's accomplishments include serving as president of the Joint Faculty Administrative Senate from 1975 to 76, English Discipline Faculty Coordinator for 26 years. From 1991 to 1993, he was the writer and editor for the college's self-study. He worked as a faculty development coordinator for 3 years, where duties were rotated each semester. In 2000, he served as a curriculum office coordinator and was selected as a district-wide discipline coordinator from 2012 to 2014. Professor Henry was honored as the recipient of the Minnie Stevens Piper Professor Award, which is the highest award for faculty members, 2 Shooting Star Awards, and he was featured in EPCC's 50th anniversary celebration video. Throughout his career as an English professor, he helped more than 10,000 students improve their writing, reading, analytic thinking abilities, and enhance their general well-being. Students enjoyed working with Professor Henry. They were inspired to grow as writers, thinkers, and explorers of fiction, classical literature, and poetry. Students admired his teaching style, encouragement, approachable and friendly manner, and his daily jokes. He was generous with his time. He volunteered in numerous division activities and campus committees. He was one of the faculty members who worked tirelessly on the master planning project for the Trans Mountain building expansion and the renovation project, which resulted in a new dedicated space for the Writing Center at the Trans Mountain campus. He wishes to express his gratitude to the board members and the administration for the new facilities at all the campuses, but especially at his campus at Trans Mountain. Mr. David Henry served at EPCC as a faculty member, colleague, mentor, and leader for 45 years. As he moves on to the next chapter of his life journey, he is exploring and evaluating options. He and his wife, Mary Lou, have been married for 29 years. While his many colleagues, friends, and students will miss him, as will I, we wish him well and thank him for being a valued member of El Paso Community College's family. Thank you, Professor Henry, so much.
Item 1.7.2, Ms. Aylin Garcia, EPCC student and Achieving the Dream Scholar, will present the poem she shared at Achieving the Dream annual convening in National Harbor, Maryland, to nearly 2,000 educators on February 20th, 2020.
So, Chair Haggerty and members of the board, before Ms. Garcia comes forward and reads her poem, we're incredibly proud of her achievement. She was one of only 8 students from across the nation that was competitively selected to represent community college students as a block, as the largest segment of higher education, not only in the state of Texas, but in the nation. So we're certainly proud of her representing this institution and doing it incredibly well at a national conference in the Washington, D.C. area in front of nearly 2,000 attendees. And I unfortunately was not able to attend DREAM this year, but I was getting messages, text messages from colleagues, the Chancellor of Alamo Colleges, Mike Flores, who's a good friend, Russell Lowry Hart, the president of Amarillo College, among others, who talked about your poem and how powerful it was. So we thought it was only fitting that you share it with the Board of Trustees.
Thank you. Oh, and thank you for having me this afternoon. I am from the border where the American dream lies or dies and diversity emerges. I am from the land where illusions can start, but where they can disappear. I am from the memories and treasures that hide the hard realities and the very real struggle. I am from the fear, but I'm also from the hopes of many. I am from the books and their stories. I am from the numbers and their mysteries. I was raised with the desire to learn and the willingness to help. I am from my unique love and rare humor. I am from the cold, long nights and the beautiful, lovely mornings. I am from the cozy, warm hugs in the unexpected but necessary deep talks. I am from an amazing mixed culture, fighting injustice and seeking for freedom for more than myself. I am from a place where pain is finally finding its end, so happiness can flow and be spread all around the world. I am from a home where love is love and a strong, growing tree endures every storm. I am from the battles I fought as an infant and the lessons that came up with them. I am from Ciudad Juárez, our city where killing women has become something normal and a joke for the authorities. But I'm also from El Paso, our city when a mass shooting on August 3rd changed everyone's life, and a city where humanity is losing against children trapped in cages. I am from saying, I can't take it anymore after every nap, until my grandma told me one day, saying I can't sounds horrible in any language. I am from my mother's last words, study, be grateful, help, and respect. I am from El Paso Community College, where people love what they do and opportunities appear on a daily basis, a college where dreams can be true. I am a dreamer, a fighter, a daughter, a sister, a friend, a granddaughter, and I am a woman. I am Aylin Garcia Soteno, but I didn't realize who I was until death started following me. Tragedy after tragedy make life lose its sense if there's nothing to live for. Life, it's like a roller coaster. It can amazingly surprise us every day with more adventure, challenges, and lessons. We give living the purpose we want to once we find it. Pursuing it is what makes life funny, interesting, exciting, sometimes scary, but always magical. As a wise person at the edge of death once said, you just need to believe in yourself. Now, with clear goals on mind, I'm prepared for anything that may come, good or not, good or bad, high or low, nice or not. I will become the person so people told me one day I was never going to be. I'll be a voice for the voiceless, sight for the blind, and ears for the deaf. I will fight for an education and peace in this chaotic world. I will become that safe place full of love and without judgment. I am finally ready to make it true. Thank you. Before I leave, I just wanted to say thank you. Before this incredible experience, I was already loving EPCC because I found my dream here. The best instructors, and some of them mentors, made me think beyond my imagination. And after this trip, I learned much of what's happening here and the work that's being done and that's being improved for student success. Thank you, EPCC, for being so warm and providing us opportunities and second chances. Thank you, EPCC, for caring about us and doing everything that is in your hands to making this a community where we can feel safe and protected, where we can not only improve as students, but as human beings. We are a unity, and I hope every student feels the same way as I do. I'm more than happy to contribute to a community where everyone can explore their potential and find their voice. Thanks, EPCC, for being so cool and lovely. There are not enough words in the dictionary to express how grateful I am, so I'll just say thank you.
Ms. Garcia, can you let the board know who nominated you
Who nominated me?
for this role, for the scholar, for the Achieving the Dream? Was it Professor Kirby?
Yeah, I think so. I'm not sure, but I think so.
Yeah, it was. It was Professor Brian Kirby, who's one of our fine English faculty members. Congratulations.
Item 1.7.3, optional presentations will be made by the presidents of the Classified Staff Association, the Professional Staff Association, the Faculty Association, and the Student Government Association.
Good evening. Tonight, my remarks actually address a topic we haven't talked about before, which is health insurance. And I would like to open by expressing our deep appreciation for Dr. Pena, his team, Tish Alvarez, and her team, and the many people inside of Benefits who have been willing to sit down with us and explain how different pieces work, willing to come and speak to the Senate, willing to answer questions. And we understand that the challenges that we are feeling are not present anywhere within this room. But the Senate has been hearing from various faculty across the district about claims being denied from our health insurance. Some of these stories are troubling, for lack of a better way to express it. The one that I have been given permission tonight to share is a woman who her husband had a stroke. And unfortunately, as they were going through treatment, they identified the primary cause as being a defect in his heart that allowed for the clot to move. And of course, upon reaching the brain, then we have health complications. His neurologist and his cardiologist identified that it would be best for him to have corrective surgery on his heart. He had begun the process of getting all the labs done. He had actually progressed to going to checking in at the hospital for the day of the surgery when he was notified that his claim had been denied. Now, I am certain, as I am not an expert in such an area, that this is a very complicated matrix of decisions that lead to these sorts of outcomes, but from where I stand, I'm having trouble understanding how that claim would be denied. And in speaking with HR and other agents, the Senate has come to realize how little agency we have in the process of providing feedback to the health insurance, particularly because of how it's selected. And so our appeal tonight to you is, as leaders of the institution, if there is ways that you have agency and voice in the selection of health insurance and providing feedback to this provider, that there would be an effort to maybe seek answers as to why claims are being denied on some level. Now, of course, Benefits has been helping us to do this kind of on a guerrilla warfare kind of approach, one at a time. But as we continue to see more and more of these emerging, we're starting to see perhaps the need for a systemic response. And so our appeal is to please ask questions and to see if there is maybe other options that the state could continue to pursue as health insurance for employees of the state. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank you.
Hello. Good evening, Dr. Serrata, members of the board. My name is Alex Rodriguez, Student Government Association President. I just wanted to update you guys on the events that we pretty much hosted over the last month before we get into a couple more things. We actually hosted the Democratic Primary District 76 debate. We actually had coverage from Telemundo and Univision, and it was super helpful when it comes to them actually, because they actually interviewed us, or me specifically, and actually talked about civic engagement involving with our youth. So I'd like to give a special thanks to them because it gave us actually quite a few bit when it comes to answering questions about being more active within the youth community, about being more rallied in terms of voting here locally, not only on the national elections, but in local elections and things like that. Topics that we covered in the debate was involving state appropriations and funding for community colleges. Another thing that we covered was about healthcare and reproductive care, immigration, and more specifically involving the camps that are happening here on the border, gun legislation, and also civic engagement within the youth. Another event that we had was actually with the Children's Dance Marathon that we hosted on Valentine's Day. We actually met our fundraising goal of $8,000. We actually raised $8,834. I'd like to thank all the faculty and staff that went ahead and donated for the events. There's quite a few of you guys, so thank you so much. There's actually still a chance to donate last minute until the 28th. If you guys haven't donated yet, I can actually find out who hasn't donated, so I'm going to hunt you guys down. Now,
Is there a link that you can donate, or how do you?
Yes, there's actually, I mean, even by just Google searching EPCC Dance Marathon, should be the first link that appears. And that's one way. There's also another link, but it's a very, very long link that I can't think of on top of my head. So, but I know with the Google search, you can actually find it that way. The last thing I wanted to go ahead and talk about was involving the smoking policy. I'd like to thank you guys for bringing up the item towards the agenda. It is definitely something that previous student government members that are also here in attendance that actually advocated a lot for over the years. Pretty much talking as of myself personally, I was pretty much a member last year, the vice president for last year, and here as a president this year. There's at some point in time when it comes to being a student here in El Paso Community College, you do have the faith in terms of administration, faculty and staff to actually be able to assist you in your best interests. Whenever you go to counseling, you take their advice when it comes to having what classes you should take and things like that. And we do have faith in the institution academically, but when it comes to the faith in our institution, when it comes to our well-being and health, this is a very, very big, giant leap forward. So I would like to thank you guys very, very much. This is hopefully whatever you guys need from us to actually get the ball rolling. We're more than welcome to help, and that's pretty much the end of my report. Thank you so much.
Yes, that's it. Next.
Item 1.8, communications, none. Item 1.9, Board of Trustees business. Item 1.9.2, discussion and action regarding changing the Board of Trustees meeting date for the month of April 2020.
The date we're looking at is the 21st of April. It's a Tuesday. Anyone have a problem with that date?
Yep.
Okay. What's the other date? This is it? Okay. All right.
April 21st? No? You'll be back in the morning. What are we doing?
You want to try April? I won't be here on April 26th, but you can all run a meeting without me, I assume.
No.
That's what you can-
He originally proposed the 21st. Mr. Uxer won't be available, and the judge will not be available on the, I'm sorry?
The
Judge?
regularly
26th.
scheduled
Okay,
22nd.
on the 22nd, okay.
Are you back on the 23rd?
Back on the what?
You're not available the 22nd, how about the 23rd?
He'll be gone.
Or the 29th?
I can do it on the 29th.
29th, Dr. Sarapa? Christie?
Yes, yes.
Wednesday, the 29th.
Belen?
I hope I'll be here. I don't have my calendar on my phone, but
I can't, but
I'll
you
make
guys
it a
can go
point to
ahead
be
without
here
me.
if you schedule it for the 29th.
You guys can go ahead without me.
So we could go to the 29th. Bonnie won't be available, and we don't know about Ms. Robles, but the rest of everybody will be
Everybody
here.
else will.
Well, I hear a motion for the 29th.
Motion to move the meeting to the 29th?
Second?
Any other discussion? Call the question?
Mr. Uxer,
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez,
Aye.
Ms. Robles,
Aye.
Dr. Graham,
Aye.
Ms. Nahara,
Aye.
Ms. Pena,
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Item 1.10, Board Reports. Item 1.10.1, Treasurer's Report, January 31st, 2020. No action is necessary. Item 1.10.2, President's Report. Item 1.10.2.1, Dr. Sarata will update the Board of Trustees and audience on recent events that have transpired at the college.
Chair Haggerty and members of the board, the Northwest Campus held its grand opening on February 5th, 2020. Everyone should remember that day because we had a significant amount of snow in El Paso. It is the third ribbon cutting of the 6 projects taking place at each of our respective campuses. The Northwest Campus expansion will provide many innovative opportunities for our students that will keep them on the path to completing their degrees and increasing the educational attainment level of our region. This event was attended by nearly 200 students, faculty, staff, and community guests. I want to thank the campus dean, Dr. Lydia Tena, and her enthusiastic team who provided tours to our guests. Special thanks go out to our police department and facilities crew, as well as the marketing team, media services, and culinary arts, who arrived early again on a snowy morning to ensure that everything was safe and ready. It is important to remember that these buildings are much more than just bricks and mortar. They're about transforming student lives. El Paso Community College students from the Northwest Campus, Abigail Velez, spoke at the grand opening, and I'd like to share part of her comments with you. Ms. Velez is a sophomore communication major who was born and raised in the borderland and who aspires to continue her education and become a sports broadcaster. Her statement, part of her statement, being a student at El Paso Community College not only allows me to dream, but equips me with the tools necessary to achieve and excel. Our new building at the Northwest Campus is the perfect symbol and direct sign that EPCC is growing and cares about the growth of its students. With this new building, our student body has a new tool to help us dream and dare us to achieve, a place where students can gather as a community and grow to accomplish legendary things, and it all starts here at EPCC. Congresswoman Veronica Escobar held the El Paso 2.0 convening, developing a regional strategy to increase wages and reverse the brain drain in El Paso del Norte region on February 19, 2020. I was fortunate to attend her convening. Discussion topics included current economic trends, best practices in successful communities, emerging opportunities in El Paso, increase wages and reverse the brain drain, unleashing the economic potential of the border, and what next on stakeholder commitments. The Texas Tribune sponsored the Future of the Border Region, a day-long exploration of the cultural, political, and economic importance of the border at the University of Texas at El Paso on February 20th, 2020. I was asked to join on the panel on educating the next generation, along with John Flores, the president of New Mexico State University, and Dr. Heather Wilson, the president of UTEP. Many thanks to the board members who were able to make it and spent the day at UTEP, and many thanks to Evan Smith and the Texas Tribune staff for doing a great event. The Diversity and Inclusion Program sponsored the Black History Month Legacy Awards Dinner on February 21st at the ASC Auditorium. Legacy Award winners this year included the Honorable Judge John Chapman, Miss Baby Ruth Boswell, and the El Paso Community College Cross Country Half Marathon team. Dr. Gary Bledsoe, president of the Texas NAACP, provided the keynote address during the event. Congratulations to award winners and to Ms. Olga Chavez and the Diversity and Inclusion Department for organizing this outstanding event. To wrap up the month's activities, a Black History panel discussion was held earlier today at the Trans Mountain Campus Forum. El Paso Community College was recognized earlier this month with the 2020-2021 Military Friendly School Gold designation by Victory. Now in its 10th year, the Military Friendly Schools list has come to set the standard for higher education institutions to provide the best opportunities for veterans and their spouses. You just heard from Ms. Aileen Garcia, a freshman economics major at EPCC, who was competitively selected as a 2020 Dream Scholar by Achieving the Dream. Aileen competed with hundreds of students nationally, and she is the first El Paso Community College student to receive this recognition. She has faced significant struggles in her life, yet she has developed the grit and resilience to keep working to fulfill her dreams, like many El Paso Community College students. She was invited to attend the 2020 Dream Conference that was held last week in National Harbor, Maryland, and read the poem that she had written and just shared with you. Our very own Dr. Julie Penley, up on the right, Vice President of Research, Accreditation, and Planning, has been elected to the Texas Women in Higher Education Board of Directors. Dr. Penley will serve on the board until 2021 and will work to transform higher education leadership in Texas and beyond. The Texas Women in Higher Education is part of the American Council on Education, Women's Network representing Texas. Congratulations, Dr. Penley. The Hispanic Outlook on Education magazine has once again ranked El Paso Community College on its top community college for Hispanic lists. This is the 15th, this is our quinceañera, this is the 15th year in a row that El Paso Community College has earned the nationwide distinction of being the #1 grantor of associate degrees by community colleges. This ranking substantiates EPCC's dynamic efforts to increase degree attainment in our region. According to the data presented in the top community colleges for Hispanic issues of the Hispanic Outlook magazine released this month, EPCC awarded 3,528 associate degrees to Hispanic students. The college ranks second among the top 25 community colleges with the most Hispanic enrollment, with a Hispanic population of 28,819 students, totaling 85% of the total of student enrollment. EPCC will once again appear on the cover of the February 2020 issue. Kudos to Carrie Moe and her team for ensuring that we were once again on the cover. The Anthony Independent School District College-bound flag raising ceremony will be held on Friday, March the 6th, 2020 at 9 a.m. at the Anthony Elementary School. This will be our 10th school district and our 10th elementary school that we've been able to adopt. And finally, the college will be closed in observation of spring break, March 16th through the 20th of this year. Chair, that concludes my report.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Item 1.11, consent docket, none. Item 2.0, administration, none. Item 3.0, personnel. Item 3.1, discussion and action to approve full-time staff and faculty recruited in positions funded by the institutional budget.
Do I have a motion?
Move to 3.1 and 3.2.
Second.
Can you read 3.2, Pam?
We actually have no items under item 3.2 tonight.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Any discussion? Call the question.
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Dr. Graham.
No.
Ms. Nahara.
Aye.
Ms. Pena.
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Item 3.2, discussion and action to approve full-time staff and faculty recruited in positions funded by grants and/or contracts. There are none. Item 3.3, information items, resignations and retirements. No action is required. Item 4.0, financial services. Item 4.1, discussion and action on the sole source procurement of a 2-year service agreement renewal with Civitas Learning Incorporated, in an amount not to exceed $185,000 per year.
I have a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Call the question.
Mr. Uxer,
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez,
Aye.
Mrs. Robles,
Aye.
Dr. Graham,
Aye.
Ms. Nahara,
Aye.
Ms. Pina,
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Item 4.2, discussion and action on the approval of the tuition and fee schedule effective for the fall 2020 semester for resident and non-resident credit students in accordance with either option 1 or option 2 as presented to the Board of Trustees.
Move to approve.
I think there probably needs to be discussion in terms of what option we're choosing, though, right?
Yes.
Because there's
Yeah.
two.
There's two options.
Ms. Shaughnessy, would you please lead?
Absolutely, Dr. Serrata. Mr. Haggerty and members of the board, I'd like to direct your attention to the documentation that is behind the abstract in the board agenda. And sure enough, you will find two recommendations, one being option 1, and it's on page 73 of the agenda. And option 1 is actually the recommendation that was made by the administration to the Tuition and Fees Committee and also presented to the Student Government Association. And those presentations were made in January and February. So the option 1 is based on a tuition increase of $10 per credit hour for resident student and $18 for non-resident student effective fall of 2020. It also includes from that tuition increase to have an allocation of an additional $1.50 per credit hour to the athletic fund to fund their programs. Also provides for an increase in the distance education fee from $50 to $55 per course. And finally, an increase in a three-peat fee from $55 to $60 per credit hour. And then before you also have the schedule of that tuition rate increase that is included in your packet. The second recommendation is the actual recommendation that was passed, that was voted by the Tuition and Fees Committee. And they were basically what they are recommending is in order to allow for an increase of $2.50 in allocation per credit hour to the athletic fund, they are recommending a tuition increase of $11 per credit hour for resident students and $19 for non-resident students effective fall of 2020. In terms of the other fees, such as the increase in distance education from $50 to $55, they kept it the same. And then the increase in the three-peat fee from $55 to $60 also remained the same. And so they concurred with the recommendation from the administration. Do you have any other questions?
With the caveat that $2.50 would be allocated per credit hour to the athletic fund.
Yes, sir.
Is that the one that the administration is recommending?
No, this
150.
one's the administration.
Tuition and Fees Committee is recommending this.
Anybody here from the Tuition and Fees Committee?
Good evening, Board. My name is Rocio Fierro Perez. I'm the Vice President for the Student Government Association. I was also the Chair of the Tuition and Fees Committee, and that is correct. We voted as a committee to have a tuition increase for resident students to be $11, non-resident students $19, and for the fees to stay the same. The fees to stay the same with the credit allocation of $2.50 to the athletic department. Do you have any questions as far as?
What was your rationale in terms of going with the $250 for the athletic department?
So we had been speaking to the athletic department a lot within the committee and in student government, and it is not enough money for the athletic department to continue. So they are barely making it through. And so we asked if $1 more would actually help them, and they said that it would significantly to make sure that they are able to maintain all of the athletes that we currently have and all of the sports that we currently have. So that is why the committee decided to have that extra dollar. Because originally what we wanted to do, it was keeping the same original one, which was $10 and $18. And there was a fund balance of about $1 million, and we were thinking of allocating or adding that extra dollar to the athletic department, but that was going to leave us with no money left over, which is why we suggested to have that extra dollar increase for the resident and non-resident students to go from 10 to 11 and 18 to 19. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Any other questions? This has the full support of student government. All of the students that were there were students that paid out of pocket, also that got financial aid, traditional and non-traditional students. So the students completely support the second option, which is the allocation of, or the credit of $11, $19 to keeping the fees the same, as well as the $2.50 allocation to the athletic department. That is our recommendation as student government and as the committee that has met several times to discuss all of these tuition and fees.
Who else was in the committee other than the student?
We had a lot of faculty and staff. I can't remember off the top of my head. Ms. Shaughnessy, do you know?
Sure.
Everybody?
Yeah, we have Ms. Laura Telles from the budget office. We do have several faculty members. From the top of my head, I can't remember. Ms. Arvis Jones is also on the committee.
Correct.
We serve as resource persons, so we're not allowed to vote. But we had a very good attendance by students, and this is what really we always look for. Trying to think of, we had pretty much a full committee.
Yes.
In fact, the second time that we met, because we did not have a good attendance by the students because they had other commitments, we actually postponed the vote to February the 10th, and this is when they actually voted.
Was it a unanimous vote?
Yes.
I have a question, because you said that fees would remain the same, but are you,
The fees that are for the 3 repeat fee and the, what was the other one?
Yeah,
The
I think
distance
The distance learning, right. That would stay the same. The $5 increase, we agreed to that for the original recommendation and the one that we are recommending.
okay, so
They concur with the
that
administration.
it concurs
Yeah,
with
Ms.
the administration
Yeah, Ms. Fierro
recommendation?
means that
Okay.
in terms of they concur with the recommendation from the administration.
Okay.
Mr.
just wanted
Chairman.
clarification.
I would like to move that we approve the recommendation of the committee.
Second.
So you're going with option 2?
Option 2.
Just to make it clear,
Yes.
you're going with option 2. That's your motion.
Right.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Yes, sir. Second.
Any other discussion?
Just a couple of more questions. I'm supportive of that, but just for clarification for members of the public, and once we'll take the vote, what were some of the issues that were identified in terms of the need to bump it up to the 250? I don't know if you can speak to that, or Ms. Shaughnessy, or anybody else, because I think one of the statements that you made was it was an identified need, it was not enough, they were barely getting by. Can somebody speak to that?
Coach, is anybody here, is the coach here? Do you want to come and speak to the board? I think
Or
you know
you're
a
not
lot
getting
better
your
than I
250.
do. So I'll let the expert talk.
And I just add, when you're talking about the EPCC's athletic program that we have, Coach Hinojosa, well-renowned across the county. I mean, everybody knows him. They know the team in terms of the exceptional athletes that they are. But wherever you hear, and what you hear most impressed about it is just the caliber of students that are our student athletes and what they really bring. And so, when you're talking about providing more resources to our student athletes, they are athletes and they are students first and foremost that are contributing, that continue to contribute and really put EPCC on the map. So I think that's worth saying and acknowledging. Yeah.
I'm sure he will bring it up, but I just wanted to make sure that we clarify that this is also to make sure that we maintain scholarships for the athletes.
Right.
So because tuition has increased and the athletic department has not had more money allocated to them, they are not able to give out those scholarships to our athletes. And that's just one of the things that is important for the athletic department in order to maintain a good program. So I'll let him speak and answer any of your questions.
Thank you, Ms. Fierro.
Good evening, Board, President. I think she did a great job.
She did awesome.
Part of the problem that we have is we usually don't get an allocation as tuition goes up, so that we fall behind. We actually fall into debt, almost 1.5 million in debt. So we have to make sure that the allocation that we do have first runs our programs and also pays back the debt that the fund that Josette used to graciously help us with the improvement of our baseball field and our softball field. We're also planning ahead and saving up money so that when the time does come to replace our softball field, we will have the money and not have to go back and ask Joseph for more money, heaven forbid.
And Dr. Serrata, I
Yes,
don't know if you or maybe Ms. Shaughnessy can speak in terms of the history of when the board, this particular tuition increase request or asks, when it comes to the board, and what the board and administration has been mindful of in terms of bringing this every 2 years.
Sure, yes, ma'am. So 4 years ago, the Board of Trustees directed us to implement a 2-year tuition cycle. And we did have a rather significant increase in tuition, but the board's rationale was that our students would have a full 2 years. We do have a caveat if there is draconian cuts from the state, which fortunately has not occurred. But in that 2-year cycle, so fall, this would go from fall 2020 through the summer of 2022, the tuition would remain stable. There will not be another tuition increase. Students can plan. That gives them the full 2 years. I encourage our student body to look at the summers as part of that academic year, in particular with the codification of year-round Pell. So the students have a third Pell cycle that they can take advantage of, not just the fall and spring, but actual Pell grants for the summer as well, so that they can complete that respective degree within that time frame. So you don't have to take 15, you can do 12, 12, and 6 in order to receive and complete that degree or certificate in that time frame. I see Ms. Lopez in the audience. So the board directed the administration to develop a 2-year cycle. We have done that. This would be our third cycle in that 2-year cycle, Ms. Sanchez.
And we're still the most affordable institution in.
We are by far, Ms. Sanchez, the best value in higher education
It
in
goes
this
without saying.
region.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have another question. If we give you this kind of money for the are you gonna pay off the money you borrowed to fix the fields?
Definitely.
In a shorter time frame.
In a shorter time frame, and
So
that
what-
makes Josette very happy.
Okay.
Me and the Board of Trustees.
Any other discussion? Any other questions? Call a question?
Mr. Uxer,
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez,
Aye.
Mrs. Robles,
Aye.
Dr. Graham,
Aye.
Ms. Nájera,
Aye.
Ms. Pena,
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye. Congratulations. Get that thing paid off.
Item 5.0, physical facilities. Item 5.1, discussion and action on the approval to enter into a contract with M&K Architects Incorporated to provide architectural support services for the remodeling of the building located at 801 North Oregon Street in an amount not to exceed $168,529.
Do I hear a motion?
Move to approve?
Second.
Any discussion? Call the question?
Mr. Uxer,
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Mrs. Robles,
Aye.
Dr. Graham,
Aye.
Ms. Nájera,
Aye.
Ms. Pena,
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Item 6.0, curriculum and instruction. Item 6.1, discussion and action on the approval to enter into a contract with the Inn and Spa at Loretto for the Southwest Seminar for Great Teaching in an amount not to exceed $52,000.
Move to approve 6.1 and 6.2.
Second.
Any discussion?
Let me read item 6.2.
Yes, please.
Item 6.2, discussion and action on the acceptance of a grant award from the Texas Workforce Commission to provide training for the hospitals of Providence in the amount of $686,628.
Any questions on this one? Call the questions?
Mr. Uxer,
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Dr. Graham,
Aye.
Ms. Nájera,
Aye.
Ms. Pena,
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Chair Haggerty, if I can just ask Vice President Smith to name the folks that worked on this grant. This is a rather substantial grant that we've received from the Texas Workforce Commission.
Serrata, I appreciate the opportunity. We have several members in the audience that were instrumental. This is one of the largest TWC grants that we've had in recent history. So Dr. Carmen Aguilera-Gerner is in the audience. Dr. Jaime Farias is out. He's not available, but huge help in acquiring this grant. And of course, the grants office, Mr. Bob Elliott, he's here too. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Mr.
Good job.
Good job.
Thank you.
Item 6.3, discussion and action on the acceptance of funding from the Defense Logistics Agency, Department of Defense for the Contract Opportunities Center in the amount of $383,596.
Move to approve 6.3, 6.4, and 6.5, because they're all grants coming in.
Second.
Can you read 6.4 and 6.5, please, ma'am?
Yes, sir. Item 6.4, discussion and action on the acceptance of funding through an interlocal agreement with the City of El Paso regarding the community library at the Northwest Campus in the amount of $37,000. Item 6.5, discussion and action on the approval of a sub-grant from the Texas Education Agency for the College and Career Readiness Schools model in the amount of $15,000.
Any discussion?
Need a second.
We had a second.
There was a second.
I think
I
she's-
seconded.
Call a question?
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Dr. Graham.
Aye.
Ms. Naheda.
Aye.
Ms. Pena.
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Item 6.6, discussion and action on the approval to increase the nursing ATI VN total fees from $610 to $630, and the nursing ATI RN total fees from $740 to $765 effective fall 2020 semester to include future increases not to exceed actual test cost.
Move to approve 6.6, 6.7, and 7.1.
I hear a second.
Second.
Okay, Pam, read 6.7 and 7.1, please.
Item 6.7, discussion and action on the approval to increase the allied health testing fee to $140 effective for the fall 2020 semester, and future increases not to exceed 10%. And item 7.1, discussion and action on the approval of the new Spanish placement testing fee of $10 effective for the fall 2020 semester.
Any questions?
I just have a question, Mr. Smith. These are, we're not making a profit on this test, correct?
Yeah,
This
thank you
is-
for the question, Dr. Graham. Absolutely not. These are costs that are direct to the institution that we're passing on to the student at no profit.
And they're required tests.
Correct, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Call the question?
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Dr. Graham.
Aye.
Ms. Nahara.
Aye.
Ms. Pena.
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Would you like to go into executive session at this time?
Do we have a
No,
motion?
so we don't go into executive session.
We adjourn. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Do we have here a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Next month's meeting, Judge,
Then we
is
have to go back.
Next month's meeting will be on
The
March the
29th.
25th.
What happened with
March
this?
the 25th.
25th? March the 25th at 5:30.
She moved it.
Thank you all for coming.
This one?
She added it, huh? She added